ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí ẹ sì káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ọmọ Oòduà tó ń dé sójú ìwòran yín láti iléeṣẹ́ ìkànnì Wo TV níbi tá a ti ń dábẹ́ ọdún tá a ti ń rọ̀ bí òwe bó jẹ́ pé ọba náà ló kú fórè fàkùkọ tiwa o ẹ kú bójú ọjọ́ ti rí báwọn lọ́dọ̀ yín lọ́hùn ajé ti gbogbo ajẹ sọ́jà yín ti ta wàràwàrà torí pé tó dá mi lójú náà ni pé ọmọ ẹ̀ta ní kọ́kọ́ ta o kí gbogbo ọmọ ẹranko tó tà pátá àdúrà mi ni pé ajé àfilẹ̀ gbogbo wa sílé ògúngún sọdúnsọ bòjá fọ̀dẹ̀dẹ̀ gbọ́ ṣe gbogbo àwa òkùnkùn ní báláyé fọwọ́ tayé gẹ́gẹ́ tó ètò ọ̀hún náà ló tún balẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ wàrà òjò sójú lè wá wùn mí kẹ bá wá pèrè fìlẹ abẹ máa fìdí tí a pèrè mọ́lẹ̀ kákọ́ lágbàmì ètò tòní ká máa bá kìnìún bọ́ba àti ṣe máa ń ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe tiwa tẹ́tí mọ̀ wá mọ̀ lánàá kó tó dùn ní. àdìgún olódodo ràwọ̀ yín náà rèé lórí ètò tòní bó bá ti wáyé gun ó máa ń yọrẹ ni bó bá ti yá yẹn tẹ̀lé mi ẹ̀já lọ lórí ètò tòní kájọ mọ bí kìnìún ọ̀hún kájọ mọ bó ti fẹ́ rí. ẹ máa bá mi láìkì o ẹ dẹ̀ máa ṣíà kẹ́ ẹ máa bá mi subscribe ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n gbọ́ wa láké kí wọ́n gbọ́ wa lóko káwọn tó àrògùn àga náà má bọ́ kí wọ́n bomi ọgbọ́n mu ń bẹ̀ torí pé ètò ọgbọ́n rèé níbẹ̀ náà láti jọ ń fúnra wa lómi ọgbọ́n mu ó ti yá ẹja tẹ̀síwájú lórí ètò tòní.
My sister, it's so nice to see you.
Let me laugh first. It's so fun to see you so serious. Lawyer.
You say make I come. I say who I be. When the Almighty Aisha Yesufu is calling you, you must come prepared.
I mean, no fast me here. You know, just seeing you with all these books, I'm like, okay, Deji's actually a lawyer, ba. This one, when your own person, you're gonna see and finish and see now. We will. Thank you so much. It's actually a pleasure, having you here. Thank you so much, Deji, for joining us. Well, we enter this now. We not get time to do. I suppose they read your profile.
Oh, which profile?
Everybody don't know that one. But let me just say, I really appreciate the fact that you came on time and the way even before time. For me, that's the way things are supposed to be. We must, if we want to do certain things, I say to people, we must hold ourselves to higher standards than we hold other people. So that's something that is commendable. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of us who are here, today we are going to have a conversation, probably an hour and a half. Deji is very busy. And so we are going to make it, quick. But the topic for today is restoring faith in justice. Is there hope for the common man? So I will start off by asking Deji, Is there hope for the common man?
Well, sincerely speaking, going by what is going on in the country, I don't think there's any hope. Because as of yesterday, I was in court representing some of the protesters in court. And, it was a very emotional period for me and for almost everybody, lawyer and non-lawyer inclusive. Many of us, we cried in open court because we couldn't just withstand the dehumanization any longer. It was that of a situation where we were seeing before eyes the degrading of children, and the caricaturing of, our nation, right before our very eyes. And if you look at why I said, sincerely speaking, that there's no hope, is because there appears to be two different countries, one for the poor, one for the rich. And it's unfortunate that the rich are having a field day in this country. And if you look at the political cases, you will discover that the speed and the attention with which they receive is not the same with the conventional cases in court. Also, we must create, because the idea of rule of law, as propounded by Professor A.V. Dicey, the father of the rule of law school of thought of some sort, is that the rule of law must have general application, that all citizens must be treated equally before the law, and that the law must be blind to all, that the law must not favor A and while B is not favored. The idea is that no citizen should be put beneath the law and no citizen should be put above the law. But what we are witnessing in our nation, whether prosecutorial or whether procedural, is that certain citizens are more citizens than others. And that's why in this same country, people protested that they are hungry. Yeah. And the solution to that is arresting them and putting them on trial and subjecting them to more hunger. As we saw yesterday, that majority of the children that we have been crying for their release in the last 93 days that instead of admitting them to bail, they should not even have been brought all the way from Kano, Bauchi, Kaduna, away from their parents, away from school, to all the way to Abuja. That prosecutorially, you know, and even procedurally, these students and kids should have, you know, at best been arraigned at the state high court within jurisdiction in Kano, in Kaduna, in Bauchi, as the case may be, for just minor crimes of maybe disturbance of public peace at worst. What is the business of children, little kids, and treason or mutiny? It makes no simple sense. And on the other hand, is the idea that, you know, politicians who have stolen billions, for instance, alleged to have stolen billions, like the Abelos of this world.
Yeah.
Arrest warrants have been issued against them by courts, but the security agencies will not arrest them, or they are too afraid to arrest them. They will not be arraigned before the courts. And most shamefully, they will even disregard orders of courts. You know, so while kids are subjected to treasonable felony charges and mutiny charges, indeed, these are signs that, you know, there is no hope in sight.
I do hear you, Deji, and I get your sentiments. I mean, things are really so bad. But are there things that citizens can do? Because if we say there's no hope totally, you understand? I hope the situation is hopeless, no doubt about it. But are there things that we can do as people before we go on to justice that, you know, can make us not just stay and not do anything, but get that hope back that we currently don't have right now? Yes,
there are a lot of things citizens can do. And it is from when citizens begin to do those things that, you know, we can be able to rekindle hope. You know, yes, there seems to not be hope in sight, but I don't believe that all hope is lost. You know, however, citizens can do a lot that can be done. E.g., like I've always said, citizens can become active, because when citizens fail in their responsibility as citizens, leaders are bound to be complacent. You know, the complacency of leaders is as a result of failure of citizenship. Yeah, citizens and citizenship in its whole essence. Because for me, I believe that when leaders are not accountable, it is because citizens let them get away with too many things.
Absolutely.
And Nigeria is the world capital of leaders getting away with almost everything. The people who have done this to our children should not get away with it in an ordinary and an ideal situation. You know, because if they get away with this, they will do worse. And we have seen these instances where people have been arrested for patriotism to their nation, like we have seen during the End Bad Governance protests. That was one of the greatest forms of patriotism to one's nation. And citizens were arrested. The other citizens said, since I was not the one that was arrested, they didn't show any sign of solidarity, you know, or care. So if citizens had risen up and come to the rescue of other citizens by leading more further protests, you know, imagine how many are these leaders. Imagine if 1 million or 2 million people come out to say, we do not accept with this decision of government to arrest fellow citizens. You know, everyone will have been automatically released. Then these kids will not have had to spend 93 days in custody. So when citizens fail in their responsibility as citizens, then leaders have a field day violating citizens' rights. Secondly, another thing that can be done is that citizens can galvanize themselves, you know, and form pressure groups to demand for reforms at all levels. You know, reforms, electoral reforms, you know, administrative leadership reforms. Citizens can even vote out bad leaders and prevent rigging and hijack of elections. Citizens can prevent issues of rights abuse. Citizens can even refuse to protest and sit at home. You know, this is where the labor union comes in. We have seen how effective sit at home can be in the Southeast. The Southeast shuts down every Monday. So it doesn't always have to be protest alone. Citizens can choose the other non-violent method by, you know, staying at home. Market women can down tools. You know, tanker unions can down tools. Electric workers can down tools. This is the only way, because the country is not working. If the country works for all of us, we will not have a situation where we are having lack of power, lack of good roads, lack of good schools, where citizens' rights have frequently violently been abused. So these are some of the steps and things that citizens can do. You know, the reason why our country is this bad is because of the actions and inactions of both citizens and leaders alike.
I totally agree with you where you talk about the fact that citizens are not doing the things that they're supposed to do. We actually have also failed. Dr. Woyoruba will always say that governance is of two sides, the demand side and the supply side. Those we voted into office are the ones who are supposed to make the who are supposed to supply, and then we that voted them into office are supposed to make demands. And unfortunately, most citizens, you know, don't get to do that. And as you were speaking, you talked about the fact that the power of sit at home. I know, yes, now the Southeast thing, because you know everything has to be done in moderation. Life is all about extreme. It's never a good thing, and so it's been abused in a way. But I can just imagine what it is to wake up in Nigeria and there's nobody on the street.
Yes.
So they're not going to be let them be tear gassing themselves. Let them go out and be tear gassing themselves. People are at home. We say, no, we are not. We are ready to sacrifice this. But most times when you're calling on people to do that, there's a selfishness that we as citizens, we must take responsibility for that. We as citizens have in feeling that, oh, it's none of my business. So it has not affected me. So I will not go out there and do anything. And then that's why you see some people who come and say things like, oh, I never thought Nigeria will happen to me. And I'm wondering, when it was happening to others, you thought, you know, you were different from it. But anyway, you've heard what Deji has actually said to us. Am I supposed to be calling you Barrister Deji? You're my bros.
Yeah, I'm just your brother.
Am I supposed to be very formal? Yeah, like, I'm calling you Deji and I'm feeling disrespectful. I say, the guy is a lawyer now. You go hear this. Okay, bros. So yeah, I see that. So there's a question here that someone has asked, because like I said, we are actually live on YouTube and also on TikTok. Someone said that on this issue where they are saying that I think they call it counsel to the federal government or to the police, has come out to say that they are not minors, that most of them are married, they are this thing. He's asking whether you've been able to ascertain through birth certificate and all of that, even though yes, we can see, but you know the way you people in the law, it's not what we see. Have you had those things that show evidence to show that they're actually minor?
You know, the law is settled on that as regards to the age of the child. It's only the mother. Majority of the kids, their mothers, their parents were in court. They have attested to their age. The police are not the one who gave birth to the children. And we can see also, you know, the law takes into cognizance certain things like dates, weather, time, you know, physical features, in arriving at conclusions. By mere physical attributes, we can see that these are just little children.
Yeah.
You know, one of the mother said that the son is 10, contrary to what they said on the charge, that he was 13. You know, so we have been interfacing with many of these parents from the time of arrest till yesterday. So, and we have seen that, you know, the government was extremely callous, mean, and wicked in even detaining them in the first place. If not for all the efforts we did, the children would not have been arraigned yesterday. We put a lot of pressure on government to make sure that the children were released. There's nobody that we did not beg in secret to release these children. From the government side to the security agency side, we have been begging from day one that these children were brought to Abuja, that the kids should be released. We have met almost everyone. I do not want to mention names.
Yeah.
But we had gone around offices in this country, begging all the leaders in this country to release the children. You know, but they were adamant that there was an instruction that the children should not be released. You know, and so we had to force them, because we went to court to compel the government to release the children. So it was as a result of some of the cases we filed in court. That was what made them, because twice those cases had been adjourned, and one of the particular case involving the minors was now slated for hearing, and there will have been no other option but for the court to direct their release. That was what led them being arraigned in court yesterday.
Oh wow. I read a tweet of yours earlier on where you had said, I think this tweet was done yesterday. You
Yes.
said you all don't even want to know the fight we fought to get the kids arraigned in court today. We have been on this issue since they were arrested 93 days ago. The kind of things going on in Nigeria is unbelievable. All I can say is that there's no hope for Nigeria. And so this, it talks about the testament of the work, background work beyond what people see out there on a lot of things that are being done. And one of the things also is the fact that we've had a very shameless Nigerian government for decades. They don't care until you shame them, until maybe there's an outcry, then the international community and the world begin to look into what's going on. That's when they actually do the things that they're supposed to do. And so tell us about this bill. I see that they have like, is it 10 million naira bill? I just want to also put it in terms of that we have a lawmaker who recently assaulted a boat driver, and I think you're their lawyers. And the lawmaker was given 500,000 bill, if I'm not 500,000, and then those children are given 10 million naira. As someone who just explain to us what this is all about.
Yes, because this matter is before the court. So, and I'm a lawyer in this matter. So
Okay.
to become subject is if I begin to make comments or remarks that tend to bring the court into disrepute or bully the court, try to make the court to reach a conclusion or an assumption. But all I can say has already been explained in my opener, that there appears to be two separate countries, one for the rich and one for the poor, unfortunately. You see, in driving home this point, let me just go back to the earlier analogy that citizens have a role and a duty, to their country. Yeah. See, when people started protesting in the Southeast, they were killing them on the street almost on a daily basis. So they devised a new strategy that, since they are killing us every time we come out to protest, that they now elected to stay indoors on a particular day. We don't have to shut down the country every day to make Nigeria work. Do you know what it means for people to refuse to come out on a Monday all over the federation? The country will lose billions on that Monday. It will become an international embarrassment to the government and the country. So I think that, and no sacrifice is too much to make for protection of human rights, because these rights are inalienable. They are rights that are expected citizens to enjoy. Even God expects us to enjoy these rights. So why will our government take away these rights from us? These rights are our birthrights, and that is why they are called inalienable rights. So citizens can resort to, abstinence, complete abstinence in activity on a particular day to protest, some of these violations that is going on. But in most cases, just as regards to money in like sum, whether for shortship or as a bail bond, this is money that is expected to be paid in the event that a defendant who is standing trial before court of competent jurisdiction does not show up. So that money is more or less a bond that you commit to produce the money should event that the defendant absconds or the defendant refuses to stand trial or face his trial. So, but having said that, and that is why I said that there appears to be two separate countries, one for the elite and the privileged few, and while there's another law and another country for the less privileged.
Yeah, I hear you where you talk about, and I totally understand with you where you can't talk about these cases because your party to read. When we also talk about this bond, yes, it's not as if they are saying this the children or their family should bring 10 million naira down, but for you to be able to have someone that can even say, if you don't appear, I'll bring 10 million, that 10 million is in the conversation. You have to be at a certain economic level.
Absolutely.
And if these children were there, they won't be in this.
And how can somebody be protesting hunger that is hungry and you now feel that that person has money, or someone that the person knows someone that can produce such a bond?
Yeah, so that's the thing. For those of us who are joining us on TikTok and on YouTube Live, please send in your questions so that we'll be able to ask Deji questions. And for those on TikTok, I'm very sorry. I'm seeing a lot of messages coming in. This is my first live, so I don't even know how things go on here. So please, I'm seeing people say, okay, they want to co-host and all of that. I will find a way that will streamline it. I wish it was a way that he also will be part of it. So please bear with me today. I'm trying to learn the ropes, but the thing is that when I actually learn, I sort of like try and do a little bit more. So please send in your messages for that. I'm also trying to, if you want to join us on on Zoom, just send a mail to livewithaisha01@gmail.com so that I'll be able to send the link to you, and you can also join us directly here and have that conversation. So thank you so much, Comrade Deji, for all that you do. One of the things that I want to ask you, and I think for me, it's going to be a bit of a question that is neither here. No, you know, say be my brother, but that one no mean say if you do anyhow, I no go flog you. If me to do anyhow, you whatever.
Of course.
So just a few weeks ago, I saw a tweet that you had done, and I think I did a video on it, where you talked about the fact that because of the way this whole country is, and going to 2027 election, and things have been so mortgaged that there's capture, state capture, judiciary's capture, INEC capture, and everything, and that it would be better for Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, and Atiku to just use their money on a bet, or to bet rather than to run. What I want you to look at, and I want to see from your own point of view. I've spoken about my point of view. I want to see from your own point of view. If we say, oh, people should not take part in election because everything is mortgaged, and then is it not the same thing as if I say to you now, Deji, there's no need of going to court. Just forget about taking this issue because the judiciary is mortgaged and they don't do anything. Is it not sort of the same thing? Would it be better for us to not take part and just sort of like allow them self-defeat ourselves, or fight them, even though the fight is hard, even though we might not win, but let us not give them the opportunity to just words it round to us. I want you to look at it from this two sort of like perspective.
Yes, so I think that's the frustrated part of me speaking. Frustrated, tired, angry, pained by lackadaisical nature of citizens to just not do anything. I don't know why Nigerians are always messiah hunting when they should be trying to save themselves. This idea that, oh, somebody is coming to save us, so therefore let us not do anything. Let us just be waiting. After all, Aisha Yesufu, she's coming. Aisha Yesufu to come and save me. So it's from a place of anger, a place of frustration, I think. And I think I agree that I need to be more positive. I need to be more positive. I need to be more positive about my outlook, in trying to make sure that
okay, yeah, go ahead. I saw a message coming, and I know you're very busy, and I'm sure people are coming. So go ahead and answer that message. Yeah. I could see you're trying to do two things at the same time. So go ahead. I will just take when you're finished, come back.
No, it's not a message. It's just kind of interrupted my. It was a call that interrupted my screen. So I don't even know how to enlarge the screen anymore, but I think I'm audible and visible. So
you're visible right over here. You're quite loud.
Okay, great. So what the issue is that yes, the state capture, no doubt, but I think I need to be more positive and not allow the frustration and the depressing situation in the country get to me. I think that's one thing. I also feel that, yes, what I was saying is that it's premised from the fact that I don't understand when the political elite, none of them is a novice. They've been at this game for a while. I don't see why there should still be division in the opposition by this time, because you are dealing with rogues, you are dealing with crooks. These are people that they've appointed politicians into INEC. These are people that are appointing politically exposed people into the judiciary. These are people that have turned INEC to almost APC secretariat. So I don't see why in my mind, I feel that the political elite and the political class by now should be working towards a major merger, you know, and that this major merger should be outside the conventional political systems, outside the conventional political parties, which are sincerely being run by Tinubu. Because whether it is the PDP, Labour Party, NNPP, in my view, I feel that they are being run by Tinubu. I said it, I think I said it last week, that it's only Peter Obi that has even made any attempt at clearing the APC and Tinubu moles in his political party. As of today, the neck of PDP cannot even sit because the chairman works for Tinubu. The chairman of Labour Party, the Aburi guy, works for Tinubu. The chairman, they had removed him. He went back to court. He got some form of respite in court. The Konkoso and his people in NNPP, they are not even pretending. You know, they don't criticize the government. They don't oppose the government. They are just having a great time. So for me, in my mind, I also feel that the political elite in the country, that they are so complacent, and they are so, even when few of them, the Atiku and the Obis of this world criticize the government, they are so mild, they are so diplomatic, they are so, look at what Aisha does. Aisha calls a spade without any form of political correctness. I do the same. Omoyele does the same. So what are we talking about? Why should anybody be afraid of calling a dictator a dictator? Oh, no. I'll rock the boat. Oh, I don't want to sound too harsh. So look at what the then APC, they all came together. Look at what they did to the then PDP. They were not being politically correct. They went for Jonathan's jugular and they got him out of office. So that is how to play opposition. It's not to be playing opposition of political correctness. So in my view, there's practically no opposition in the country. I would have said that the opposition is not inspiring, but that is even if there was an opposition in the first place. You know, so for me, it's from a place of frustration, it's a place of pain and place of anguish. So, and I think I need to be more positive. And truly, all hope is not lost. And citizens can still do the needful. Citizens can still rescue their nation, you know, away from these buccaneers, bandits, and political scavengers and armed robbers that are in power.
I hear you, Deji, and I totally understand that point of view. Sometimes you're so frustrated. It's almost as if there's a gloom out there. But for me personally, one of the things that I always carry on is the fact that I don't mind though. Even if you will defeat me, I would rather you work hard to defeat me rather than for me to self-defeat myself and not put myself, you know, out there. And I get that whole thing, especially there's something that you said that is so apt, Messiah hunting. Nigerians do that a lot. You see somebody will have a problem and you're saying to the person, come out and fight this thing. Let's stand together. But they were like, no, we don't want to do it. They want somebody else to do it. I remember when we were having this conversation, I did ask you that question to say, I'm sure right now Nigerians are just coming and dumping so many things on your table and they want you to be the one to do it for them while they are waiting by this side. So I must say that even we also...
And the irony of it all is that they subsequently turn around and say that you are clout chasing.
Oh my goodness. Before that, the same people I can't remember who had the saying that in Africa, if you are fighting the oppressors, you only use one hand. The other hand, you'll be fighting the people that you are fighting, you know, on their behalf. That's what they will always say. People will always do everything to denigrate you. And then I also, in a way, I understand. So let me explain it to me. You tell me if maybe I'm wrong in what I'm looking at. That's the way I've been able to just work with this. To say Nigerians have been so disappointed. They've been so many times they believe in people and those people will disappoint them. So I think right now what they're trying to do is that they're trying to protect their hearts, protect themselves, to say, even this one is one of them. It will disappoint us soon when we put in there. So they are so disillusioned. So a lot of people would rather say, oh,
but Nigeria is not the only nation where such happens. It happens in America all the time. People believe that Biden was coming to come and help them fix America. Obama was going to come and turn America to space. Trump was coming to come and, you know, enthrone Christianity and do this and do that. And leaders coming, whether in the UK, in the US, in Canada, and they disappoint because leaders are humans. And that's why we need to stop this Messiah hunting. This idea that, oh, a Messiah is coming, and he will just wave his magic wand, like we were told about Buhari. And once he waves his wand, Nigeria will become Dubai. So Nigerians must sincerely stop that Messiah hunting thing. That is what keeps the country perpetually on the floor.
Thank you so much, Deji, for this. We have Felicia Okoro. Thank you so much. Also, Afribution TV. Thank you. There's a question here from Twitter that says, the children, where are they currently? But before you answer that, I just want to say to people, I don't know what's happening. You know, technology. You'll be sitting there, Jaja, the thing that I used to do before, it just won't do. I'm trying to access the email, and all of a sudden, today or 4 days, the email that I've put in, because I have to see whether those that want to join by Zoom and send it, I can't just see, but I'm still trying. So if you've sent an email to Live with Aisha, you know, at livewithaisha01@gmail.com, I've not answered it because I've not been able to have access to it. What I normally do that is so simple before, it's suddenly so difficult for us. But before you answer that question, Deji, of the children, where are they currently? Are they with their parents? Are they back in this thing? It's to say that there's a comment here that somebody made, and he said that, oh, Deji's an APC mole. To give context, I've been called an APC mole. Aisha Yesufu has been called an APC mole. Aisha Yesufu has been called a PDP mole, whatever it is. So all of these names. How do you deal with all of these personal attacks that you get? Even there's one that, okay, I think I was at a space that was in 2022, and people are like, oh, why are you defending Deji? What I said then was that they say you had been paid to do certain things. I said, look, Deji, I know he's a business person. I know for that, you know, and stuff like and all of that. How do you deal with personal attacks when you're working on issues?
Yeah, you see, that is the reason why I don't block anyone, because I enjoy it. You know, I don't block. I will never block. You know, in fact, I'm one of the few people in Nigeria that retweet insults. When somebody says I'm an APC mole, I retweet it, because for me, I feel that is them expressing their freedom of speech. I'll be the last person to report somebody because the person defamed me. I'm not a Burna Boy that will go and use police to arrest somebody because he feels his ego has been bruised. You know, so I will not use state institutions for capture or intimidation of citizens. There's no name that have not been called. There's nothing that, and the truth of the matter is that if you feel I'm an APC mole, why don't you be a Labour Party mole, or a PDP mole, or an NMPP mole, or an AAC mole as well, so that you can repair the country? Who told you that it is my job to repair the country or to make sacrifices for the country? What has happened to you? What has happened to your voice? What has happened to your heart? What has happened to your legs? Why can't you go on the streets and try to salvage the country? Why can't you also contest and run for something? Why must it be an Aisha? Why must it be a Deji? Were we born so that we can go and take risks?
We were not born with placards. We were not born with.
So the issue is, when people fail in their responsibility as citizens, they are looking for others to blame for their failure. I am doing my best so that my children will absolve me of any wrongdoing. You know, I have called this president a dictator. I've called this president a thief. There's no name. I've not called Tinubu. There's no name, either during the campaign or after the campaign. So what have you done as a citizen? How have you been able to hold government accountable as a citizen? If you have failed as a citizen and you see somebody who is refusing to fail, who is trying his best, of course, you'll be wanting to blame them. You'll be wanting to hold them. Instead of holding leaders accountable, you're trying to hold people that are trying to hold leaders accountable. What accountability do I owe you? I'm not elected. You understand? I'm not an appointee of government. I don't owe you any accountability. Whether I'm an APC mole, a PDP mole, a Labour Party mole, I don't even owe you any accountability. I don't owe you any explanation. So the idea that some people feel that we need to explain what we do and the things we say and our stand or ideology to them is one of the greatest delusion that Nigerian politicians have been able to, inflict on the citizenry. It's a delusion because I am just a normal private citizen doing what I feel is right. I may be wrong, but I'm just doing what I feel is right. And I'm doing my very best. Do your best as well.
And that is all. I'm doing my very best. Do your best at all. And if you think his best is not good enough, do your own to surpass that particular thing. And I think when you talked about that, people are looking for others to blame instead of taking responsibility. So a lot of people are able to say, oh, we are not doing this because those that are doing it, they are doing it to chase clout. They are doing it to get popularity. They are doing it to gain this. They are doing it to
let me just shed a little light on that. Let me just shed a little light on that. Fuel is now over 1,000 naira. Why don't you also chase clout? Exactly. Why don't you also chase clout, and maybe your clout chasing can bring back the fuel to 165 naira. Tinubu is giving us week in, week out an opportunity to chase clout. Look at almost 100 and something kids have been arraigned before the court. Come to the Federal High Court on Monday and chase clout.
If the clerk know how to chase, go chase them. The popularity, go and do it.
Exactly.
And sadly, that's just the thing about it. But I think it's also people who don't want to take responsibility. And just like what you said, what can we do to get justice in our country is that let people take on issues. Let people be active citizens. If it's electoral reform you want to take on, take that on. If it's on the judicial reform and stuff like that, take that on. Whatever it is, just take something on that you will go ahead and you're ensuring that it's being done. At the end of the day, it will now mean that all of us will be able to have a country that we all can be very proud of. Doing nothing is not something that it's not something that we should take on and say that's okay as it go. I'm trying to, please send in your questions. I'm still trying to on TikTok. I don't know whether I'm the one who is unable to see these questions coming in. Please, if you have questions, go ahead and send them in for us to answer. I'm still trying to work on getting access to that email. I just don't know what happened, but usually it's my fault because I'm very poor when it comes to technology. It takes me time to be able to get these things done. Remember, we are talking about restoring faith in justice. Is there hope for the common man? If we were to clean up the judiciary, because it's one thing for us to cry that there's a judicial capture, and Deji, so I don't know whether as a lawyer, now as a lawyer you can't talk anyhow the way me I would talk anyhow as my own citizen. The one you cannot talk anyhow, no wahala. Just let me know what it is, but let me just ask this question. So I've been thinking, I'm like, most times you see when people leave you finish your law school and all of that, so you have option to either go the journey of the bench or bar. If I'm not mistaken. But the bench is not very, you don't get as much money. I might be wrong, so correct me anywhere that I'm wrong. But now you're seeing politicians, you're seeing what have you, putting their children there, everything there. And this capture started, some of the capture is like 20 years ago. You're seeing houses being built for judges. I don't know, there have been reports of school fees being paid for this thing, whatever. How do we ensure that there's credibility in the whole? And if you're not able to answer this question, it's completely okay. Since you're a member of the robe, they call it. No, you are not a royal Baba. But whatever it is, what can we do? What can citizens do? Can I, for example, an individual that says, I will do the sacrifice, I'll be part of it to ensure I'm part of those, I'll clean up that system. What is it that people can do?
Yeah, so you see, the Code of Conduct for Judicial Officers is very explicitly clear that judges must avoid contacts with citizens, with politicians, with these. So, and this is the idea. The idea of judicial independence is that the judiciary must be free from interference, whether from the executive, the legislature, or private persons. Private, emphasis on private persons. So the judiciary because the judiciary is an independent arm on its own. So the judiciary cannot be independent if it is having constant interactions with the executive arm of government or the legislative arm of government or a judge of the Federal High Court or State High Court, as the case may be, or the Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, is attending party organized by politicians.
Yeah.
Attending house construction flag off of politicians. So the idea is that because the law knows that if these judicial officers begin to interface with people, whether politicians or non-politicians alike, that the idea of bias, because the thought alone of bias is enough to make the right-thinking member of the society believe that the judiciary is corrupt or that the judiciary is biased. And that was the holding in the case of FRN and Abiola, where he had accused the judges of the Supreme Court of bias against him. That, oh, his newspaper had published things against them. That how can people that his newspaper has published, his newspaper has called them corrupt, his newspaper has done so many things against them, how can they now sit over his matter? You understand? Yeah. So the idea is that these judges should be immune from interaction. And that is why we say politically exposed persons should not be judges. Politically exposed persons should not be INEC, because these are supposed to be independent institutions and bodies. You cannot be independent when you are having meeting with politicians. When a politician has access to walk to your office or to your house, you cannot be. Because you cannot be a judge and you are married to a politician. Because other politicians, governors, they'll be coming to your husband's house and they'll be seeing you.
We saw that. Sorry to interrupt you. I think we saw that with Senator Bulkachua.
Yes, where the husband was saying that there's none of you here. There's none of you here that my wife has not done, that we have not done favor for. And the senators have to be begging him, he's okay. So this is the reason why the law says people who should be judges must be conservatives. People who are not party goers. People who are not always attending Owambes. The judges cannot even belong to social groups. So the rule is very stringent on these officers in the temple of justice. So it is expected that they are held to a more higher, standard. So you cannot be a judge and you are frolicking with political actors. Your husband is frolicking with political actors. No matter how competent you are, the average right-thinking member of the society already believes that this person, that there's going to be some form of interference in the of criminal justice. So this is why these set of people are expected to be people who are immune from any form of interference whatsoever. So that would be my take on that.